light that comes down, most of the time, it's not like you're playing out every single second. It's like this blip, like I'm in my living room, blip, I'm outside, blip, I'm on the ship, blip, I'm now flying through a wormhole, blip, I can see out the windows. It's pretty fascinating. Flying forward towards what looks like a blue, watery planet. And as I'm now settling in on the ship, I'm more alert. So it's like the blip, blip, blip is me leaving my house, leaving to go board this ship. And I question why. Why do I have this blip, blip, blip feeling? Well, because of the technology. Because remember I said they can mess with time. So they can take me off for 12 hours and I can come back, and I do actually lose time sometimes. I'm not going to say I come back and it's the same minute. Usually I'll lose anywhere from 45 minutes to what happened to me a few weeks ago. I lost 4 hours. It was midnight and I was standing in my kitchen, and the next thing I know, I walked into where my office space is to get something. I went back in the kitchen. I looked at the clock on the stove and I thought it was wrong, like the electricity had gone out or something, but it wasn't blinking, but it said 4:10. And then it's kind of registering and I'm kind of shaking my head like, and then I went and got my phone and it's 4:10 and I'm like, that's the most time I've ever lost. I've never had that happen before where I lost 4 hours. I'm like, dang, I had stuff to do. I literally was going to go to bed about 2 o'clock in the morning, but I had a list of stuff I have to do now. I didn't get anything done because I'm off, lollygagging around somewhere on another planet, but I didn't complain. But my point is, that's the feeling I have. So for those that are wondering, what does it feel like? What do you do? How do you get there? There's different ways, but that's the easiest way to describe it is like when I say blip, I think you understand what I mean. It's like kind of how we see on TV when we see these blips. But then all of a sudden, like I said, when I'm settled in on this craft, everything becomes clear. So we're approaching this from a distance. It looks blue. It looks, when I say watery planet, it almost looked like a plasma type substance. I don't know if any of you have seen the movie Contact from years ago with Jodie Foster. That is very, there's a lot of accuracy to that movie with when at the end, and I don't know if y'all remember how, so she's in that machine that they made. Supposedly she's going to visit her dad, and all of a sudden everything shuts down, and she had this amazing visit with her dad out on this plasma-looking, energy-looking beach, and everybody else said, well, you didn't go anywhere because there was no loss of time. That's where I'm going with this. That's exactly how this works. You know how movies give us truth. Movies are pretty accurate. Look at The Matrix. But so nobody thought she left, but she had an amazing visit with her dad. Well, when she visited her dad on that beach, I don't know if y'all remember this movie. If you haven't, it's worth watching. It was really cool. It was like the energy of it. When I say plasma, it's because it looks like you could move it with your hand. That's exactly what heaven looks like when you first get there. So just so you know. But that's what this watery-looking planet looked like as we're approaching it. It was absolutely beautiful. So we get there, and yes, I walked down the steps of this craft and got off the craft, and I was on this planet that I was familiar with. It felt extremely familiar. And they had... it was obviously a more advanced planet. The beings that were there, it felt like just peace. It just felt peaceful. Everybody was walking and getting along, and there's no amped up energy like we have here. Like you go in certain areas, you have to watch your back. It wasn't that. It was just this peaceful place. So I wanted to know more about. What do they do? What are they learning? What's their goal here? And I saw what looks like, the first thing I saw, in fact, so I don't know how many of you have been to Disney. I don't frequent there. I have been there once in the past few years just because of family. And right when you enter Disney World, there is it looks like a post, and it's where you put your what is it, a watch or bracelet? Not a watch, bracelet. You scan it, to let them know you're legit. You just paid your $875 to walk through the gate. I'm exaggerating. But it looked like that. It was like a post. And I said, what is that? And they said, scan your hand over it. And when you scan your hand over it, it does a complete reading of everything about you, your frequency. It basically lets them know that it's like a checkpoint, right? They scan their hand, it gives them a reading, it tells them what their frequency is, and it gives them an idea of what they need to do, like to raise it. For example, one of my questions was, how would their frequency drop? If they're all happy and getting along, what would cause it to drop? And the response was, they just got back from Earth. I'm like, okay, yeah, there you go, because it's dense. But there's different things that can cause it to drop, and if it does, then all of the others assist them with raising their frequency. And I can't even explain it in a deep enough way. But it's not just like with us, we can raise our frequency. I hope you know what I mean by frequency. High frequency is love, gratitude, joy. Low frequency, guilt, shame, hate, jealousy, resentment, all of those lower level feelings. And everything is energy. Everything has a frequency. Everything. And on this particular planet, everything was about frequency and color. For example, the highest, revered occupation, the one that people would strive to do, is teach. It's being a teacher. And it was a violet a violet aura with a high frequency. So I asked, how do they get there? Like, how do you achieve that? How do you become a teacher? Well, it's with many lifetimes of experience and being able to walk in a balanced way. Like, in other words, you're evolved. You aren't, because they do have feelings, but they're not like all over the place with us. We're like extremely raging or extremely happy. They're more balanced. They do have fluctuations in frequency, so they can have, some lower feelings, but nothing like us. We're just like extreme. But when they get to a place where they're pretty neutral, is how they explained it to me, where they just walk what I call gently on the when I say it on earth, I always say, let me walk gently on the earth. So when they're walking gently, they're not doing harm in the world, they're not harming others, they can evolve to that level of that violet frequency, and then they are allowed to teach. That is something that when people talk about doctors and lawyers on earth, look, I'm not knocking doctors and lawyers. I know plenty of them. I have close friends that are doctors and lawyers, and they're wonderful people. But that's not considered a high-level job there. The reason here it's looked at as, how people want to achieve that is because of it's looked at as being different is because of it's a long education, and some of them tend to get paid more, but some don't. I know a lot of lawyers that don't make a lot of money. That's not the point, though. It's not the point. Their goal, though, like I said, is to teach. And so that is considered the ultimate job because they're affecting the young. Now, and for those that want to know how they procreate, how do they have kids? They don't usually physically have sex, just not, Yep, I'm talking about alien sex. Yep, that's the subject I'm on, but let's go with it. They're not like physically having intercourse like humans act like rabbits. They do this thing. There's two ways they can do this. One is, look, I can give you the perfect example of what it looks like. For those who've seen the movie Cocoon, at the very end of it, when they are in the pool and the things are coming out of the cocoons and the light is blending with them and they're feeling love and blah, blah, blah. That is how they have alien sex. Just not kidding. It's a blending of energy, and it's a blending of energy that's like ecstasy for them. It's bliss. So they can do that, and they can also grow like embryos. They can, yeah, literally put them in a tank, grow their kids in a tank, and that's how it is. That's how they do it. They don't have physical sex. There's no need for it. There's not even a thought there for them. They don't think about that because that's a human thing. They have no need to live in the lower nature or act like a bunch of animals, and they don't have rape and all that. Some of them don't even have genitalia. There's no need for it because everything's energy. They're operating at a higher level. And so, but they can do that through, like I said, growing these embryos in this clear tank. I saw that so clearly. That was wild. They taught me so much stuff. But the other is when, so let me sum that up so I don't sound confusing. Their idea, I guess, of what people here consider sex or having, it's not sex though. It's deeper than that. It's a bonding. It's a love. It's a merging of your energy. It's just like in the movie Cocoon. That's the easiest. If you haven't seen it and want to know more, go watch that. It's a perfect description of it. But they blend their energy, and it's this high frequency, and it literally is like a state of bliss. It's probably 1,000 times better than what people feel here. So super cool. All right, I'm gonna do a new recording.